Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here from the Calcio Bros, and it is Christian once again to discuss what has happened this weekend. We had a lot of exciting games and two of them were the derbies. We had the Derby della Capitale and the Derby d'Italia, which produced two great spectacles, and we had a lot of other great games as well. Some very interesting results in some sense because some teams really got hammered and some other results that you wouldn't have expected some teams to get. And we also want to give kudos to Milan, who are the winter champions, which I find weird because I guess they're using not that it's weird, but they're not waiting to the final game because I guess they're already counting the head-to-head, even if Milan lose and Inter win, because Milan had won the derby. I thought it would be goal differential until the second game's played, but what do I know? Have a lot of the times, right? Anything can change. But anyways, Milan are winter champions. We'll talk more about that as well. So I thought let's just get right into the results, talk about what happened and some of the key fixtures as well. So let's get right into that. So Serie A round 18 started on Friday, January 15th. So we had the Derby della Capitale open up the match day, and that was Lazio Roma 3-0. It finished for the Biancocelesti. Huge win for them. Tough loss for Roma to swallow. We're going to discuss that right after I list all the other results. Going on to Saturday, January 16th, we had Bologna Verona, and Bologna getting their first win in, I would say, almost a couple months here. They were winless for the longest time, but they managed to get the victory over Verona thanks to an Orsolini penalty. At 12 o'clock, we had Torino Spezia. Spezia going down a man early. Thanks to Vignali's red card, and Torino just couldn't break through. Spezia actually did look the more dangerous of the two sides earlier on in the match. With this result too, it did not help Torino as they find themselves in the relegation zone, and it also did cost Giampaolo his job, which I'm surprised didn't come sooner. Nicola has been stated to take the reins of Torino and hopefully guide them out and lead them to safety going forward. Ending off Saturday on the 16th, we had Sampdoria Udinese. Sampdoria coming back from behind to get the full 3 points, and another team here who are also struggling in Udinese, which I'm surprised haven't even fired Luca Gotti, considering Udinese have looked good at times, but they haven't been able to capitalize on certain results. They're just squeaking away by the relegation, but if they don't pick up some positive results soon, they're going to find themselves in the bottom three if other teams start to pick up the points. With Sampdoria, Torregrossa scoring on his debut to get Ranieri's men the full 3 points here. Moving on to Sunday now, 6:30, we had an absolute thrashing of a game. Napoli killing Fiorentina 6-0, an outstanding result, which I don't think anyone really saw coming. This was an absolute embarrassment for La Viola. We're also going to talk about that one as well. 9 a.m. only had two games, so we had Sassuolo Parma. Sassuolo getting a penalty in the last few minutes of the game to equalize and secure a point. Parma so close, but a mistake from the young Parma player cost them the victory at the Mapai Stadium. We also had Crotone Benevento, two newly promoted teams, with Crotone getting the victory here 4-1. I don't think anyone really saw this result coming. This was a huge win for Crotone, and it seems like Inzaghi will have to go back to the drawing board after this result, because I don't think he even expected Crotone to come out swinging like this. 12 p.m. we have Atalanta Genoa that finished in a goalless draw, and this is one thing with Genoa, they can go on with Atalanta, they can go on great runs of form, scoring a at free will, and then they'll have games like this where they will struggle and not get the result they needed. Uh, Genoa played really solid the first half and getting an important point here, helping them slowly move out of the relegation zone. Ballardini is starting to get his team together. He's always been a good coach for Genoa, but as soon as results go wrong, he gets the sack. But he does prove that he can turn this Genoa side around and lead them away from relegation. Ending off Sunday, we had the Derby d'Italia 2:45 Inter Juventus, which saw the Nerazzurri pick up the full 3 points here, winning 2-0 goals from the ex-Juve man Arturo Vidal and then Nicolo Barella, who had himself a magnificent game here. I will also talk about this one as well. And then ending off round 18 was Cagliari Milan on January 18th, the Monday at 2:45, which finished 2-0 for the Rossoneri. Ibrahimovic getting a brace here in his full return to the side. So lots of important results for a lot of teams. And again, like I said, with that result here, Milan were declared winter champions, but that does not mean anything. If they continue like this, they want the real Scudetto, not the we'll say the title for the halfway point. They want the full thing, considering the season they have had. So now we're going to retract a bit here and talk about the first game that happened, which was the Derby della Capitale. Now, this game really didn't start off, with a lot of shots, a lot of things going on. It basically just started. Lazio only got their breakthrough thanks to a defensive lapse from Roger Ibanez, and that really opened up the floodgates for them. Got themselves going. Lazio seemed a little more prepared for this game. Roma were, as soon as that goal happened, they completely lost it because they couldn't get themselves together. They couldn't get any cohesion going. They didn't really get any shots together. They didn't really even trouble Reina at all. Lazio were always first to the ball, first to everything. They seemed like they wanted it more. Lazio too put the pressure on Ibanez for the first goal, then the second too, where it could have been a little debatable depending who you ask, as Lazio trudging forward, and he does get shoved a little, but it seemed like he did go down a bit too easily there. And as he goes down, it seemed to hit his hand maybe, or his chest, then his hand. It's very hard to tell, but it didn't seem like Lazio had any idea what was going on at the time as he fell. But they gave him the time to get up, complain a little bit, look for the pass, to which Luis Alberto tucks it in at the far post away from Paulo Lopez, but also with Caicedo, who did seem in an offside position, but he also was, at one point, did seem like he was obstructing Paulo Lopez's view, but if you look at the one camera angle, he was at his view. Paulo Lopez did have a clear view of the shot, but it did seem like Caicedo was in an offside position, so that perhaps could have been called back, maybe. But anyways, Lazio led 2-0 at the break, and I think Roma were a little shell-shocked there, and then even going into the second half, they didn't really get any shots going. They didn't get anything till very late in the game. Reina was not troubled at all that game. Lazio just were more prepared, more determined to win this. And even on Luis Alberto's second goal of the game, a nice shot from outside the box where the Roma defense just seemed to let him take that touch, look up and take it. They didn't really pressure him at all, and he did punish them, at the end. So, and it's another result that, Lazio for their season have been a little inconsistent, but they managed to get this result, really put the pressure on the teams ahead of them. This is now their third straight win in Serie A. They have not lost now since the end of 2020 against Milan. So far, starting off 2021 on a positive note, 3 wins and a draw. So that's one good thing Inzaghi's starting to get. He's starting to get a good hold on his team now. They're starting to pick up important results as they continuously push up the table. But for Roma, this is another result which sees them not beat a team in the top six. They tied Juve. They lost to Atalanta. They lost to Napoli. They tied Inter. Tied Milan. Now they lose to Lazio. These are important results. I know the one thing I want to say, it's like, as long as you pick up the points against who you should be beating, that's good. But then, and I know you can tend to drop little points against those that are around the top half. But then, the one thing, depending on how those results go, the head-to-head will come very important. Because if Roma lose to all these sides, like again, the teams they've lost to so far have been Atalanta, Lazio, and Napoli. Now, depending if they can all qualify for a top four spot, and if Roma doesn't have, it's a whole nother scenario if they're all tied on points and the little mini bracket thing. But if it comes down to one of those teams being tied with Roma at the end, the head-to-head will come into play. And depending how Roma did against both those two sides, against those sides, it could cost them a European spot in the Champions League or Europa League, depending where they finish. And considering they've lost now 3-0 to Lazio, 4-1 to Atalanta, and 4-0, was it to 4-0 to Lazio? I think it was 4-0. I think so. Anyway, 4-0, 4-1, something like that. Anyways, basically blowouts. Then they have the 3-0 defeat to Verona, which is a default victory. They hope to recuperate against a win against Verona when it comes to that at home. But anyways, actually, I don't even know if it's at home. Maybe it is. But you guys know what I'm saying. It's the fact that, yeah, you can drop a bit of points here and there against these top six teams, but in general, Fonseca has always had difficulty. Against these the top six teams. He has just the one win against Juve, the one win against Milan. Like he should be doing better. Hopefully, considering the way Roma have been playing too, some things need to change if he hopes to to really put them in a position where, if they want to qualify, they wouldn't have to have the worry if the head-to-head will cost them. So anyway, let me know if you guys agree with that. If you think the results against the top six really matter for Roma, or can they just play it off and just pick up results against those that are lower in the standings? So be sure to let me know. But again, credit to Lazio. They really came out to play to get the derby win and help push themselves up the table. Like I said, with Torino, I'll touch on that too. Spezia picking it up a crucial point in 10 men, playing basically the whole game down a man and costing Giampaolo his job. Once again, he does not last a full season. The second consecutive sack after last season's dismissal from Milan. And then Udinese, going back with Torino, I'm still surprised Giampaolo, considering how many points he had dropped earlier, did not face the sack earlier. Torino have been very disappointing, and now it's going to be a very tough task for Nicola to hopefully turn things around for the Granata. Now Udinese too, Gotti really in trouble. They have to make up game against Atalanta, and then they play Inter to round off these couple games. So very difficult games for Udinese coming up. Luca Gotti will hope to pick up something, but if further disappointment continues, then he will also face the sack as well. Now, one of the big games too, the absolute thrashing that was Napoli Fiorentina, a result, like I said, no one expected to happen at all. We expected a tight affair, an entertaining game too, but 6-0 is a huge embarrassment for Fiorentina, considering the coach they have of Cesare Prandelli, the experience, Ribéry, Pezzea, Cáceres, Borja Valero. You expect players with that experience to help lead the younger players. But this was just uh, a total masterclass, we'll say, if you want to call it, for Napoli. They took full advantage of the result. Some goals being scored from Insigne, Zielinski were great to see, and especially if you haven't seen it, be sure to check out Hervin Lozano's goal. That is a full credit to Lorenzo Insigne, an assist that even Diego Maradona would be proud of, going through 3 to 4 players and just slicing the ball right through the defense, which Lozano latches onto, and it's an excellent result. Gattuso really picking it up now after that disappointing result against Spezia, picking up 2 important victories, and this help does boost off the confidence as they do go into their Supercoppa game on Wednesday against Juve, and especially they do have to pick up that extra game against Juve, and they will hope to recover Osimhen as well, and this is their second 6-0 victory of the season, their last one coming against Genoa. An important, and like I said, it's an important victory as they continue to push up. They now pass Roma again with a game in hand, so if they can beat Juventus, that would help push them even further away from Roma and closer to Milan and Inter, as they're only 6 points behind Inter at the moment. So very crucial game coming up with Juve. They will hope to get something going forward. Now we'll talk about the Derby d'Italia, which was a huge game as well, and a lot to be said. As we saw, Juve last time they're at the San Siro defeated a depleted Milan side who were missing a lot of key players and taking full advantage of it, and they were hoping to do the same even with a few of absentees themselves in Cuadrado, Alexandro, De Ligt, and Dybala. They did have Morata who's coming back, Chiellini also getting the start, but it did not happen. And out of everyone here, it was Arturo Vidal, the former Juve man, like I said, to get the opening goal of the game, thanks to a Nicolo Barella cross, and Barella had the game of his life against Juventus. He played exceptionally well, really got the game going, winning the ball in the midfield, creating opportunities, and scoring a wonderful goal after a great pass from Bastoni to set him up on goal, and Inter were in total control of this. Juve did not get a shot until the last few minutes of the game that really said something. And it didn't seem like Juve did not show up. Pirlo did not have a game plan going into this. Their players were absolutely outmuscled, outclassed in the game. I do feel maybe, I know they were missing De Ligt, but maybe Demiral should have started the game instead of Chiellini, as he could have not been fully fit. But then again, Bonucci too, who has been having a disaster of a season as well, did not look comfortable at the back. Inter really exposed the Juve backline heavily there, and they did make them pay for that. The one thing I will say too is Inter really looked like a team. They played together. They defended well together. Juve just looked like individuals on the field. Did not play as a team. Did not play as one. Pirlo, like I said, did not go into a game plan. He messed up the formation. Players like even McKennie, who's been, I didn't really see this coming, but he was their best signing this year, really playing up for Juve this year. Even Kulusevski could have perhaps started. And I want to say, there's times where, I've even said this in another video as well, there's times where Ronaldo will score a brace, play great one game, but then he would go ghost in the next couple games. He hasn't shown up. He disappeared against Milan. He, even as much as he scored against Sassuolo, he did not do anything that game. He just disappeared and showed up for the goal. And then again, he disappears against Inter. And then, I know they needed a goal, but there's times where you should be able to take off Ronaldo. You shouldn't be scared to. Pioli will take off Ibrahimovic, only when he knows he has to. But considering that Ronaldo is supposed to, I'm not saying he's not a great player and a spectacular player, but you can tell he's starting to decline. He's not producing game in, game out, and he's really not helping his team if he's not showing up every game. And that, especially for Juve side, who has been very lackluster this season, they need the caliber from Ronaldo if they hope to regain momentum, because now with this loss, it really puts more pressure on Juve to get catapult themselves up the standings, considering the way Inter and Milan's momentum is taking them. Now with Napoli picking it up, it's a heavy task now for Juventus to really get themselves going for the Scudetto if they have any chance of doing that. Let's see how things go now with the Mercato, if Juve will reinforce their team somehow. If not, like, they really need something to get themselves going, to pick up the pace, and Pirlo really has to think things through again to get his Juve side to where they need to be. Last game was again for the Rossoneri, who came away with a 2-0 victory in Sardinia and condemned Cagliari to an 11th game without a win. And now Di Francesco is also another coach who will most likely face a sack if he does not pick up a win in their next game. But still, I feel maybe he's now also a manager ruining Cagliari, a team with plenty of talent. So I don't know who else there would be to replace them, but he is costing them a lot of points. And if things don't shit, they're only... Sorry, bit of mumbling there and misspoken words. But anyways, 5 straight losses in their last 5 games. That's heavy for them. They sit just outside the relegation. So this loss did not help. But Milan, like I said, with the win, became winner champions because of the head-to-head, no matter the result, and the next round of fixtures. But Milan still missing a lot of players as well. And they did have Ibrahimovic coming back, and he did pick up where he left off, scoring goals number 11 and 12, one from the spot as well. So that's 12 goals in 8 games for them, considering the amount of games he's missed, and he's still within touching distance of the top scorer. The man just is on another level here. And more worries, though, for Milan going into next game. They did receive a red from Salamakers, who just had come on the pitch and received a red card within 8 to 10 minutes, and that's just stupidity on his end, getting 2 yellow cards. Romagnoli picked up a booking, and that will see him miss next week's game. Problems for Kyer, who went off at halftime with a suspected injury, so now their injury list and absentee list just keep going. As you know, Hernandez and Çalhanoğlu were absent for this game because they had contracted COVID-19. So now we got to see with the next swabs coming up for the next game, who will be available. So Milan will really try to ramp up their transfer market. They did have Mete included in the squad, who they just recently signed from Torino. They also, now news today, that the official statement of Mario Mandzukic signing for Milan. So that's another great addition for Milan, being able to get an experienced striker who will want to return to Serie A with a vengeance. I can't even talk. I'm trying to say too much as well. But him linking up with Ibra will be great, considering the absence of Rebic on that left wing, because Mandzukic, other than striker, can play on the left wing as well, as he was able to with Juventus, as he was taught in the last few years there. So that's an important signing for them, and they're trying to finish the signings of Tomori from Chelsea, who they are rumored to get. They want to try speeding that up so they can have him for Saturday's matchup as well. And Pioli, considering all these absentees with this side, has done an exceptionally well with this young side. And again, even if they did lose against Juve with all those absentees, they did put up a bit of a fight against the Bianconeri, and we'll hope to do the same against Atalanta and put and still have a lead over their city rivals Inter going forward. So those were all the results for round 18 and a little bit about some of the key fixtures that went on as well. So be sure to let me know which results you were more excited for. Any other topics you want to discuss, be sure to comment below. Let me know. With the standings here, the top four sit like this. Milan again sitting at top at 43, Inter at 40 points. Napoli move up at 34 with a game in hand, of course, as well. Roma also sit at 34, but Napoli edging out because of the head-to-head. Juve sitting at 5th spot at 33 with a game in hand. Atalanta 6th at 32 as well with a game in hand. Lazio just sitting out there at 31. So it's still very tight for those other European spots. Milan looking like they can continue on and will perhaps finish in that top four if they continue going like this. It's still everything to play for. It like Milan, Inter do look like the teams who will battle out unless something happens. It's still early on. We still have a whole nother set of games going to have with one more game till, well, the Giro di Boa as it's called, one more game, and then we will have the Ritorno, which is all the second legs. So still lots to play for, and still early on if you want to really get into that. Roma lose some ground here, and they will hope that Napoli and Juventus, none of these teams really win. They would probably prefer a draw once they play, because then it will help them. Because then, yeah, and Juve will be tie level. Napoli will only go atop within a point, so it won't be too bad. Rather than Napoli pulling the distance with 3 points, or even Juve pulling away over them with 6 points, and then Roma dropping further down the standings. Atalanta want to be a little more consistent too if they hope to get anything, and if they want to go for another consecutive year in the Champions League. Lazio, they're starting to find themselves, they're starting to push up, and they could just creep behind these teams if they continue to stumble a bit going forward. Now looking at the bottom of the table, Fiorentina is kind of safe there. We're right now looking at it with 18 points. They're 5 points away. But if you creep down now, Udinese is 16 points. Genoa are now out there with 15, but still only 2 points away. Cagliari just on the edge of the relegation zone at 14 points. Now in the bottom three, we have Torino with 13 points, Parma with 13, and then Crotone, who picked up a big victory at 12 points. So they might, as if they continue to get wins there, they could actually push themselves outside the relegation zone, considering the way Cagliari has been struggling, Udinese has been struggling as well. We could have a whole new set of teams in the relegation zone. And like I was saying before, Torino will hope to pick it up with the new coach Nicola to see anything. Because if you look at Torino's record, they're 2-7-9, which is not something we would see. Parma still haven't won under with the return of Diversa, but it will hope to get some new signings this month to really get something going and hopefully save his team from relegation. And then Cagliari again have looked very troubling, winless in 11 games, not what they would have hoped, and they would not want to be in a relegation zone. So Di Francesco again, he's really on the verge of being sacked if he doesn't get anything going. So those are the standings there. If you have, any thoughts of how these teams will continue, be sure once again, comment below, let us know. Going on to next weekend's fixtures, but just a note, round 10 makeup game between Udinese and Atalanta is happening on Wednesday at 9 a.m. And then we also have the Supercoppa between Juventus and Napoli, also on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So be sure to check out those games. It'll probably be very exciting, especially the Super Cup. So be sure to catch it if you are able to. Now moving on to round 19, the last game of the first round of Serie A. we have Friday matchups here, or just sorry, one matchup, which is at 2:45 between Benevento Torino. Both teams disappointing last round. Will hope to rebound. Nicola will hope to get a good result in his first game in charge, while Inzaghi would really want to bounce back after that disappointing loss to Crotone. Going on to Saturday, the 23rd, 9 a.m., Roma Spezia. Now, Roma, after that disappointing loss, will hope to capitalize against a Spezia side who can cause a lot of teams trouble as well. You know, they've been very unpredictable, but have picked up results where they can, and will hope to do that at the Olimpico, as it would be a huge point for Italiano side. 12 p.m. there are two games. We have Milan, Atalanta, and Udinese, Inter. Again, like I was saying, Inter can put the pressure on Milan with a win, as Udinese have looked very wary and not very good as of late, and it could cost, like I said, Luca Gotti his job here. While Milan will hope to get something out of this, considering, like I was saying, with the list of absentees. And Atalanta, who did struggle against Genoa, will hope to catapult themselves against Milan, as they've seen Juventus do as well with the depleted Milan side. So they would hope to capitalize on that. So be sure to keep an eye, because that's going to be a very interesting fixture, and there could be goals in this one. So be sure to catch it if you can. Ending off Saturday at 2:45 is Fiorentina Crotone. So two teams closer to the bottom. This would be a huge game for Fiorentina to rebound after that disappointing and embarrassing loss to Napoli. While Crotone, with that momentum they picked up against Benevento, will hope to put more misery on La Viola. Going on to Sunday, 6:30, we have Juventus Bologna. They were going to hope to bounce back against Bologna after that disappointing loss in the Derby d'Italia against Inter, and hopefully push themselves back up the standings. 9 a.m., two games. We have Genoa Cagliari. So these are two teams on the bottom. If Genoa win, they can pull away further away from the relegation and push farther away from Genoa, as this would be an important game come to the end, especially with the scontro diretto, the head-to-head later on in the season. The other 9 a.m. game is Verona-Napoli. Napoli hoping to continue their momentum and push up farther in the standings and put more pressure on Inter. While Verona want to get a victory and maybe push ahead into the Europa League territory. It's going to be a tough game here. So be sure they're going to be sure to get something and they would hope to get something actually, considering their last defeat against Bologna. 12 o'clock, this is going to be an exciting game, I feel. Lazio Sassuolo, especially the Biancocelesti beating Roma last time out. There you have the momentum, 3 straight wins. Sassuolo, haven't looked as good as of late, but still, they have put pressure, have given trouble against some of these sides, and will hope to give Lazio some trouble at the Olimpico to hopefully push themselves back up to where they were, because at one point they were in the top 4, so they want to potentially put themselves back up there in contending for a European spot. And to end off round 10, we have Parma Sampdoria at 2:45. So Parma will hope to get a victory to potentially move themselves out of the relegation zone, and De Versa looking for his first win back in charge of the team, while Sampdoria want to continue on their good run of form and continue maintaining a good spot in the top 10. So be sure to let me know which games you guys are looking forward to and what you guys will expect. Any predictions would be greatly appreciated as well. If you haven't already done so, be sure to click the bell to receive notifications when all our latest videos are released. Don't forget to subscribe as well for more Calcio content. And if you also haven't done so, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Calcio_bros for all our latest updates and opinions, and also match day updates as well. It's where you'll be in the know-how for all the games going on. So again, if you guys have anything, be sure to comment below, and we hope to hear your opinions and hear from you guys soon. Ciao.